Almost all of you feel obligated to take every referral, and that's not being a trusted advisor. A relationship isn't just a name in your CRM. It's the quality of the emotional connection, mutual respect, and the remembered experience. Real estate is a long game. It's a relational game. And the people who win are the ones who don't flinch when things get quiet. A relational business compounds like interest. A transactional business resets every January.
Welcome to Signature Buzz, your fast-paced weekly real estate sales meeting.
Cultivating relationships from attachment to authenticity. Let's get into it. So chasing is a nightmare. Chasing is where we're chasing and trying to generate business from people we don't know. Trying to create business and trying to create trust and convince people to use us. So chasing is a nightmare, period. Until you acknowledge that chasing is a nightmare, you'll keep chasing. It doesn't work, but we're programmed. We're wired and conditioned to chase. And this programming is so strong, we don't even question it. But what we do question is whether you can build a business on repeat clients and referrals from your sphere of influence. 100%. And you should be questioning is if you can really build a sustainable business by chasing, as that being your core strategy. But nobody does question that. So again, until you acknowledge chasing is a nightmare, you'll keep doing it. But we're not here to talk about chasing. We're here to talk about cultivating. I'm juggling this stuff. I'll get the hang of it, I promise. Cultivating business starts with cultivating people. This program over the next 4 weeks, we're not discussing scripts, CRMs, or closing tactics. We're only going to focus on what truly drives long-term success in this business, and that's relationships. This is the only thing that drives long-term success. Real estate is a relationship business. You're not just a salesperson, you're a trusted advisor. So ask yourself, do you see yourself that way? So let me ask you, how do you know if you're a trusted advisor? It's not about believing it or your client questions or even the feedback from your clients. It's not about your referral base. It's not when you get repeat and referral business. The way you know you're a trusted advisor is based on your fee. My fee is 3.5%. And when you have a fee that is a standard and you get that fee, you know you're the trusted advisor. And you know you're viewed as that because otherwise, what are they trying to do?
Reduce, pay less.
Yeah, and if they're trying to work you on your fee, then they're looking at you more like what? A commodity.
Yeah.
Right? They're not believing in your service and the whole thing of the trusted advisor. So when you can charge your fee and that's your standard, that's when you know you're a trusted advisor. But this is work, right? The only way to build a sustainable, scalable, stress-free business is to make it a repeat and referral business. That's it. If you take a transactional approach, you're transactional, and you're on the path to burnout. And I share this all the time. We want to shift from being just another agent to being a trusted advisor. One of the things I'm not going to teach you in this program is how to be a human being, because you already are. But I need you to act like one, not just a human doing. And what I mean by that is it's time we've got to care. Okay, when we're making these calls, it's about them and genuinely being curious and interested. So what does it mean to be in a relationship? A real relationship means your clients trust your intentions and your expertise. They feel safe, they feel seen and supported, and they believe you have their best interest at heart. They turn to you for advice, and you understand their life, their values and goals, their hopes and their dreams, not just their transaction. It goes way beyond the transaction. They refer you without hesitation, and they do it because they know you'll take care of whoever they refer your way. And P.S., you are their trusted advisor when they refer someone to you and you let them know what? You let them know that you can't do a good job for someone when it's in your red zone, when it's not something you do. Almost all of you feel obligated to take every referral. And that's not being a trusted advisor. You think it is, though. You think that it's what you need to do. Okay, so what I mean by this is if you don't do commercial and somebody refers you a commercial lead, do you take it?
No.
No, because what we're doing is that's outside of our green zone. That's outside of what we're set up to do. And if you do that, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up to let somebody down. And the last thing you want to do is to blow it with any referral that comes your way. So you're much better off just saying right up front, that's outside, I can help find somebody, because you can always refer it to someone that does commercial. And I'm using commercial as an example. If you actually do commercial, you wouldn't necessarily refer it out if that's in your green zone. A relationship isn't just a name in your CRM. It's the quality of the emotional connection, mutual respect, and the remembered experience. It's not just a name and a number. It's not a paycheck. It's a relationship. It's a two-way street. A trusted advisor puts people before outcomes. A trusted advisor guides with empathy, not with ego. A trusted advisor helps others think clearly by staying grounded, by being the calming influence. A trusted advisor builds influence by making others feel safe and protected. The key shift is from being remembered for what you did to be remembered for how you made them feel. The experience they had of dealing with you, the experience they had of going through the transaction. Trust is a feeling, not a value proposition. It's a feeling. And as a trusted advisor, you're not here just to close deals. You're here to guide lives. And you need to let that sink in. These are big decisions. These are big things that you're advising them through as they're making their decisions. What I do hear from agents every day, almost on a daily basis, I need to close a deal. So let's compare two different profiles. Let's compare the transactional agent to the relational agent. So a transactional agent focuses on short-term wins. Anyone guilty of that? No? Just me?
Right. What did you say? I didn't hear that.
So a transactional agent focuses on short-term wins, which is basically closings. Let's get the closing done. Let's move through the process next. Okay? A transactional agent measures success by volume, and how many of you are constantly comparing yourself to others. Are you tracking other people's production? Are you tracking where you stand next to them? Because I'm sure no one on this call is guilty of it. And would I be wrong to think that the agents you compare yourself to are doing more numbers than you? The transactional-based agent fears losing leads, losing appointments, and losing business. So I just got off the phone with an agent. She was dragging. Her energy was low. I could hear it in her voice even before she really said anything. Finally, she says, I think I need to get better at converting people. I need to get better at converting people after my buyer's consultation. They ghosted me. And I just stopped. Hold up. What kind of crap is that? I asked her. She hesitated. Well, that's what my mentor told me. She said, I must have dropped the ball. I didn't ask for the commitment hard enough. And there it is, the playbook, the tired industry script. If someone doesn't sign on the dotted line today, you're clearly not good enough. You should have closed them. You should have pushed harder. You should have whatever. But I told her straight, your issue isn't the post-consult follow-up. It's that you've internalized the lie that every no means there's something wrong with you or there's something wrong with your presentation. This isn't about technique. This is about how you see yourself. Because when you walk into a consultation carrying the weight of needing to prove your value, okay, and that's what most people are trying to get business based on is my value, what I'm going to do for you. When your entire sense of worth is wrapped around whether or not someone commits, you're not present. You're performing. And people can feel it. And when they ghost you, you make it personal. You turn it into a referendum on your skills, your value, your entire career. Okay, we do this on all kinds of things. We lost a listing. They went with somebody else. The listing didn't sell. It all becomes about us, and it's not. So I asked her, what if the buyer had a fight with their spouse that night? Or what if they saw the lender and freaked out about the numbers? What if they're just not ready, and that's okay? Has nothing to do with her. And here's what I hit her with. Every single time someone doesn't go your way, you use it as an excuse to doubt yourself. You're holding your breath, waiting for permission from people who don't even know what they want yet. You've got to breathe. You've got to let go of this death grip, and you've got on being perfect. Because here's the truth. Real estate is a long game. It's a relational game. And the people who win are the ones who don't flinch when things get quiet. Okay, let me say that again, because some of us are in this position when things are slowing down or we're not getting the business at this point. The people who win are the ones who don't flinch when things get quiet, which means we stay the course. We continue to build relationships because we trust in the process. The ones who keep showing up, they keep following up. They keep believing, not in the deal, but in themselves. The lesson here is you can have the best script in the world. You can send the perfect text. You can run the smoothest consultation. But if you don't believe in yourself, if you keep handing your self-worth over to strangers and calling it feedback, you'll never be free. So stop trying to convert every buyer. Stop trying to convert every listing. Start cultivating with confidence. Start anchoring your value. Start trusting the long game. That's the real conversation. Again, the transactional-based agent fears losing leads. They fear losing appointments. They worry about scripts. They worry about dialogues. They want control and prioritize being busy over being profitable or joyful. Their core strategy is chasing. A relationship-based agent invests in long-term trust. They think client for life. They measure success by impact and loyalty. They build meaningful connections. They reach out with sincerity and build influence through trust. They prioritize people, not production, and get business by being remembered, being remembered and trusted. And I know what you're thinking right now. That's great and that's wonderful, but I have bills to pay. If I take a long-term approach, I'll go broke. But what I'm going to tell you, the truth, is if you're thinking that, you're already broke or you're broken. Why? Because you're probably chasing. And when that doesn't work, you double down on chasing. I just need to work harder. I just need more. I just need to make more calls. You confuse the short-term relief of a closing or a deal with strategy, but it's a strategy for disaster. All of you should be questioning whether chasing works at all. And you would all know because most of you do it every day. The long-term consequence of a transactional approach is burnout from consistent chasing. Okay, if you're feeling drained in this business, if you're in this point in the business today where you're feeling beat up, it's because of burnout. It's from chasing deals. It's from convincing. There's no real brand identity in chasing because you are always chasing strangers. No sustainable pipeline. It's one and done. No deeper purpose. It's just survival. It's always starting over. A relational business compounds like interest. A transactional business resets every January. So every January 1st, no matter how well you did last year, if you're a transactional agent, it feels like square one. You're starting over. January 1 is the worst day of the year for a transactional agent. Does anyone know why? Because if you had your best year the year before, you're thinking, can I do it again? And if you had your worst year, you're thinking, will it happen again? So why does the focusing on the next deal keep you stuck? Because always chasing the next deal keeps you in survival mode. That's what chasing is. And chasing trains your brain to live in urgency, not strategy. It destroys your ability to slow down, to think clearly, or to serve people deeply. You are so programmed that if you are not busy, you think what? You fail. You're going broke. You're going out of business. You don't make the distinction between busy and productive. It's not about busy work. So why is chasing so addictive? Anybody? Why do you think most people chase business from strangers? Every deal gives you a dopamine high every time you have a closing, but then you're right back to wondering where the next deal will come from. If you actually question chasing, you will see there is no compounding taking place. It's one and done. There's no loyalty. There's no brand identity. You're always anxious about where the next deal is going to come from. I was talking to another one of our agents the other day. She's been in the business for about 5 years. Not new, not a veteran, right there in that sweet spot where you know just enough to be dangerous. She calls me up and says, I should be feeling good right now. I've got 4 escrows, 2 more went under contract this weekend, but I'm freaking out. I asked, what's going on? She said, I just keep thinking, yeah, but what about October? What if nothing comes in after this batch? What if the market slows? What if I lose momentum? I said, let me tell you a story. I used to ride road bikes, 100 plus miles at a time in the middle of the summer. Heat index over 100. And somewhere around 40 miles, you stop thinking about how fast you're riding or if you're going to place. And your brain locks into one thing. Where's the next water station? You don't care about how many miles you've already covered. You don't care how strong your start was. all you can think about is the next sip. That's the real estate business. You've got 6 escrows. You should be celebrating, but your brain is already out in the desert dying of thirst, panicked about where the next bottle is. She laughed. Yeah, that's exactly how it feels. And I reminded her, it never ends. I've coached agents doing 10, 20, or 50 deals a year. They still worry. They still grip the future like a vice. The only difference is how they manage the noise. Because it's not the number of escrows that change your anxiety. It's your mindset. When your self-worth is tied to your production, when it's tied to your production pipeline, you'll never feel safe. You'll always be chasing. You'll always be thirsty. You'll always be running. But when you shift to trusting your system, your consistency, your relationships, you stop running scared and start running with rhythm. The takeaway is this: the problem isn't how many deals are in the pipeline. The problem is thinking that having more deals will finally shut your brain down. Guess what? It won't. Until you deal with the noise between your ears, it doesn't matter whether you've got 0 closings or 30. You'll still be out there gasping for the next water station, telling yourself, once I get there, then I'll feel okay. All I need is one more closing. Spoiler alert, you won't. Unless you learn how to feel okay right now, no compounding value, no loyalty, no brand identity, always anxious about the next deal, eventually burnout. If your brain depends on the next deal, you don't have a business. You're on a treadmill, and that treadmill is taking you nowhere. So relationships require emotional exposure with no guarantee of return. And the reason we keep chasing is we don't want to be vulnerable. Relationships require emotional exposure without guaranteeing of anything. You cannot build loyalty without being real. So vulnerability means reaching out without a script. Okay? So how many of you just want to know what to say when you call your sphere? Right? You're looking for that script. You're looking for the script for your CRM calls. The only script you truly need is, hi, how are you? It's a human conversation, nothing more complicated or artificial. Being vulnerable means reaching out authentically. When we're truly building a relationship, and this is the key, is this is not a real estate call. The purpose of our call is not to get business. And it seems counterintuitive or counterproductive here, but in reality, we genuinely want to cultivate a relationship. We want to build a relationship with them. And as we do that, right? As we do that, a natural byproduct is going to be business. All the business you need is in your database, is in the people, is in your past clients. Now, I get it when you're starting out. There's a little bit of chasing that has to happen. We've got to get momentum. We've got to build a book. We've got to do that kind of stuff. But there comes a point when all those people, if we take care of them and we stay in relationship with them, that's when you're going to get your repeat and referral business. That's where everything changes for you. If you don't stay in contact with those people, if we don't make those calls, you have to chase. You have to continue to call people you don't know. You have to buy Zillow leads. You have to buy internet leads. You have to follow up on things. You have to try to convince people to use you. But if you just stay in relationship with your database, it changes. But it takes being vulnerable. It means reaching out, authentically admitting what you don't want to know, and caring more about connection than control or outcomes. Say we don't measure success of calling our database and cultivating a relationship. We don't measure that success by how many leads we got. We measure that success by how deep we're building those relationships. You'll never be unforgettable by hiding behind perfection. In fact, perfection is the lowest standard you can have for yourself. Does anyone know why? It's because it's unattainable. It's unattainable. And it gives you an excuse not to take action. I'm not ready yet. I don't know what to say. See, if I can't get it perfect, I'm not going to do it. Next week, we'll dive even deeper into vulnerability in the real estate relationships. So why do agents resist going deeper? Many of you have had thousands of contacts in your CRM. Am I wrong about that? And if you got coaching that basically said you need to clean it out, you need to delete some of them, how does that make you feel? What I'm talking about is we get leads all the time. We get stuff that we put into the database that we have no relationship with. There's people in that database you don't know anything about. And so why do we hang on to them? We hang on to them because it's a classic game, not reaching out, but clinging to contacts just in case. Right? Just in case they're going to do a deal, just in case they call me. Well, they're not going to call you. Like you don't call them, they're not going to call you. So why do you resist going deeper? On the surface, it feels like a time drain with no instant results. Like if we're not calling for business, it feels like we're just wasting our time. We're not getting any results, right? We feel like we got to have a second phone so we can call ourselves and get off the line. There's a lack of urgency until you need a deal. All of a sudden, when we need a deal, then all of a sudden we have no problem calling our database to see if somebody wants to buy or sell. And that's chasing, that's not cultivating. The only time you feel urgency to reach out to your past clients is when you need a paycheck. Reaching out when you are broke is useless. Below the surface reasons why you don't go deep is fear. Fear of being vulnerable, fear of rejection, fear of letting your guard down, fear of being perceived like you're just calling for a deal. Just know that when you're on the phone with them, even if it's not leading to a deal now, you're doing the right thing. That's the work. That's cultivating relationships. You're building that trust. You're building that relationship so that when they do come across people, when they do have change in their life, you're the person that they're going to think about. But see, we're addicted to the adrenaline of closing a deal. We feel restless when we're not closing a deal. And if you're not feeling productive, you might question your own self-worth again. As long as you're wired for survival, your tendency will be to resist going deeper and deeper. And instead, you'll want to go wider and wider. You define success by speed, not depth. And if you do, you'll keep busy rather than building trust. Here's a big one. Many people avoid the internal work required to truly earn trust. If you're attached to an outcome, right? If you're attached to the outcome or being chosen or approved, you can't fully be trustworthy. Let me give you an example. An agent has a hot listing, multiple offers. And here's the kicker. He's going to represent the seller, and he also represents two of the buyers, bringing the offers. That's right, 3 sides of the same transaction. So I ask him, how are you going to pull that off ethically? He smirks. I've got it under control. And I laughed. No, you've got a lawsuit under control. Because if you think you can juggle that without absolute transparency, you're playing with fire. I told him straight, if you're going to do this, you have to go to each buyer and you need to tell them you're also representing another buyer and the seller. That's not optional. That's disclosure. That's trust. And right there, he hesitated. Why? He was attached to the money. And here's the thing. If your decision making is ruled by the fear of losing the deal, you will always compromise your trustworthiness. So I asked him, which one matters more to you? Keeping a check or keeping your integrity? See, the takeaway is that in real estate, technically, yes, this happens every day or something similar to it. Is it good real estate? No, not even close. Because if you're not willing to risk the money in order to do the right thing, you're in the wrong business. Trustworthiness is not negotiable. Your reputation is not renewable. Once you sell it for a quick payday, it's gone. And the agents who survive long term, they're the ones who'd rather lose the deal than lose themselves. Another reason you avoid going deep is you don't want to take a look in the mirror of who you are. You're not resisting relationships, you are resisting being you, because at some level, you don't think you are good enough. That's why you're not going deep. So are you cultivating or are you clinging? So this is, if you're working your database, are you cultivating it or are you clinging on to it? Because most of you think that you're cultivating relationships, but what you're really doing is managing attachments. I want you to go through this exercise. What am I attached to in my business? How many of you are attached to client approval? Like the approval of your clients means that much to you. Okay. How many of you are attached to being chosen? If basically you feel rejected if you don't get the business. How many of you are attached to being in control, trying to get every detail perfect, fearing any mistake will undo your work, all your work? How many of you are attached to instant results? That's where you're going to get joy. Yeah. Right? And the stress goes away because you're actually dealing with people that you like and that like you and that see your value. And remember, you're a trusted advisor when you get your fee. People that know, like, and trust you have no problem paying you your fee. So this week, I really want you to think about what you're attached to. Let's get your assignment for this week. So this week, I want you to start making a list of your core people. Okay, who you feel you could really lean into, your biggest supporters in your database. The other thing I want you to do is I want you to call 3 of your past clients this week. Okay, and this is what I want you to say. And I'll send this out to you. Say, have I caught you at a bad time? This won't take long. You're going to think I'm absolutely crazy. But would you mind if I ask you one question? Then you're going to say, at the risk of putting you on the spot, what was the most valuable part of working with me? And then I want you to be silent and listen. And I want you to notice your emotions. Are you anxious? Are you bracing for criticism? Or are you expecting rejection? It will do a lot for you. And the other thing is, it when we talk about vulnerability, you're putting yourself out there. You're being vulnerable. That's a good thing. Well, I had I threw this challenge out, not for 3, but I did throw this challenge out way back on an accountability call. And a couple people had took me up on it. One of them was Shelly from Prosperity Lending. And she called somebody that she thought it was a good transaction. And it was a good transaction, and they loved her and they loved everything. But the one thing that they didn't like was the amount of paperwork and how the paperwork was distributed and stuff like that to them, which was an eye opener because she didn't even know there was that glitch. The process in that was broken, right? She was able to fix that in her business. But the other thing is you don't know a lot of times what they think. You just perceive what you think through the process, right? I was talking to an agent today, actually came in to see me, and he had a client that actually wrote him a letter 7 years after the transaction. And it wasn't a good letter. It was over $40-something at closing. 7 years later, this stuck with this lady for that long, and she felt like he didn't look out for her. Right? He thought it was a smooth transaction, everything there. So he picked up the phone, called, got her voicemail, left her a message. She hasn't returned his call. So we don't know, right? Unless we ask. And so I think this is about being vulnerable and putting it out there. But I just want you to know, or I just want you to share, like, if you're feeling anxiety about that, it's a natural thing. We're wired this way, right? And the only way we can overcome it is to become vulnerable, is actually put ourselves out there. Okay. So you have to do this by picking up the phone, not through text, not through email, like a conversation. I don't want you to overthink it. Just pick up the phone, reach out, and be genuine. Okay? Thank you, everyone. We'll see you next week.